Right. In last class we discussed about complex numbers and the properties related to it, right? So the main thing we have seen here, argument of z. So argument of a complex number that is defined to be theta plus 2k pi, where k belongs to integers, and where if you can see that z can be expressed like this, z equal to r into e power I theta plus 2k pi. This is the representation of z. And if you look at the properties of argument of z, let's say I'd like to find out what is the argument of z1 times z2. So we can start with z1 and we can start with z2. Then we can think about argument of z1 times z2. Let's say I am taking z1 as this, that is r1 into e power I theta 1 plus 2k pi, whereas z2, that is going to be r2 into e power I theta 2 plus 2k pi. You can take some 2n pi, 2k pi is also fine. So where n belongs to integers. Now argument of z1 times z2. You can clearly see what is z1 times z2, which is nothing but r1 times r2 into e power I. You are just taking product of those two, right? So now you can add the powers, theta 1 plus theta 2 plus, so what you have is 2k pi plus 2n pi. So now finally I can write it like this, z1 times z2, which is nothing but r1 times r2 into e power I times theta 1 plus theta 2 plus, again you can just write 2k pi or 2m pi. Let me write 2m pi, where this m belongs to integers. You can assume that where my m is k plus n. Since it is arbitrary number, which is a number coming from natural numbers, so you can directly write 2m pi. So therefore, now you can see what is the argument of z1 times z2. So if you look at it, this is looking like this, theta 1 plus theta 2 plus 2m pi. So you can clearly say that this is what exactly argument of z1 plus argument of z2. So therefore the property what we have is argument of z1 times z2, that equal to this. Similarly, you can derive one more result, that is argument of z1 by z2. That is what argument of z1 minus argument of z2. Since that argument is there in the product, is there in the power, so when you take product, you are going to get sum, and when you take the division, you are going to get the difference. Let's solve a problem here. Let's say if I give you z equal to 1 minus I by root 3 plus I. So this is what I gave you. Now my question is, what is the argument of z? So what is the argument of z? Come again.
Argument of z1 minus argument of z2, sir.
Correct. So, but what is the argument of z1 and what is the argument of z2? So what you told is correct. First you find the argument for the numerator. So where you can see this one is looking like z1 by z2. So let me see what is the argument of z1, and this is what argument of 1 minus I. Since x is positive, directly can take this tan inverse of y by x. So tan inverse of y by x is minus 1. So this gives you minus pi by 4. Therefore, we can say that argument of z1, that's nothing but pi by 4 plus 2k pi, where k belongs to integers. And similarly, let's see what is the argument of denominator. Right. So this is what tan inverse of 1 by root 3. Since x is positive, I can simply take tan inverse of y by x plus 2k pi. So this is what is tan inverse of 1 by root 3. This is gonna be pi by 6, right, plus 2k pi. So therefore, if you ask me what is the argument of z1 times z2, you can say that is equal to minus pi by 4. What is it I need? I need argument of z1 by z2, not the product. I'll simply take argument of z1 minus argument of z2. So from this you can see this is minus pi by 6 and minus, the first one is minus pi by 4, right? Minus pi by 4 minus pi by 6, right? This plus 2k pi. Don't think that this 2k pi get cancelled. If you don't write k here, you can write m, right? Then you'll have k minus m. Again, that you can take it as a integer itself. So finally, this is what we get. When you take LCM is going to be 12, right? So when the LCM is 12, here you'll have minus 3 and minus 2, so minus 5 pi by 12 plus 2k pi. Okay, and let me see what is this number actually. When you write this z in terms of x plus iy, so let me see what is x and what is y. So here z equal to 1 minus I by root 3 plus I. Now you rationalize it, so then you get root 3 minus I by root 3 minus I. So in the numerator, when you take the product, you'll get root 3 I square. I get minus 1, minus into minus, this is plus, one more minus, so minus 1 minus, when you take I out, you'll get 1, whereas here you'll get plus root 3 by, in the denominator I have root 3 square, that is 3, minus I square, which will give me plus 1. So this is what I have, root 3 minus 1 by 4, right? This minus I times 1 plus root 3 by 4. Okay, so from this you can conclude something. The tan inverse of this is going to be pi by 6. Okay, from this you can actually say that not pi by 6, minus 5 pi by 12, that will be equal to tan inverse of y by x, so that is minus of 1 plus root 3 by root 3 minus 1. You see, I am able to tell what is tan of 5 pi by 12. Of course, you can send that minus to the other side, so you can directly see what is tan of 5 pi by 12.
Root 3, tan inverse of root 3 plus 1 by root 3 minus 1, sir.
Root 3 I didn't get.
Root 3 plus 1 by root 3 minus 1.
Okay. So when you take that minus out, that's going to be cancelled. Yeah. Okay. So this is how. Sorry, this is how you can find. You can find argument of z1 by z2. And similarly, when you have product, if you know arguments individually, so you can take those individual arguments to compute the argument of this combination, where either it is a product or division. But when it comes to principal argument, we have defined what is the principal argument of z. Principal argument of z is theta, where minus pi less than theta less than or equal to pi. When you have z equal to r into e power I theta plus 2k pi. So we will exactly consider only one value which lies between minus pi and plus pi. And yesterday we discussed how to find this principal argument. So let me show you that formula what we have written yesterday. Yeah, here. So here you can see that z equal to x plus iy, where the argument of z, when x is positive, you can simply take tan inverse of y by x. When x is negative and y is positive, we'll add plus pi to it. And when x is negative and y is also negative, we'll subtract pi. So minus pi plus tan inverse of y by x. So this formula will help you to find principal arguments. And we also observed when you are on the imaginary axis or on the real axis or real negative or positive axis, we have seen what are the principal arguments. I think we did enough problems yesterday on finding argument of a complex number and the principal argument of a complex number. See, it is always better to find the principal argument, and based on that, it's good to write the argument. Okay. And now let us try to discuss how to find powers of a complex number. Power of a complex number and similarly nth root of a complex number. Those are all we are going to see now. See, generally we have studied one thing. Suppose if you take a polynomial of degree n, let's say z power n equal to 1. You consider this polynomial. How many solutions does it have? For example, if I give you z square equal to 1, so how many solutions does it have?
Two, sir.
2 solutions. Similarly, okay, can you tell me what are those 2 solutions?
Plus or minus 1.
Okay, so here it can be plus 1 or minus 1. So this is the solution set for z square equal to 1. Fine. Next, if I have z cube equal to 1, so can you tell me what is the solution set for this? What are the numbers which satisfies this equation? They can be any numbers. They can be real numbers or complex numbers. You can think of one solution at least. Tell me one solution of this.
1.
Okay, 1 is the one solution because when you substitute 1, we get an identity. Therefore, it is a solution. How about the rest? We know it is going to have 3 solutions because it is a third degree polynomial. It possesses 3 solutions. So I know one solution. What are the remaining 2 solutions? Are they real numbers or complex numbers? The remaining solutions.
complex numbers, sir.
Yeah, they are going to be complex numbers, fine. So tell me, what is that complex number? And if I give you this, okay, I hope you can calculate. Why? Because you might have learned this process. Like when you know one root, and you can write the polynomial like x minus that root into the other polynomial. For example, I know z equal to 1 is a root, and you are going to write the coefficients here, that is 1, 0, 0, minus 1. These are the coefficients of z cube minus 1, and here you are going to keep 0. When you add it, you get 1. So 1 times 1, 1. When you add it, 1, 1. So this is 1, and here 1. When you add it, you get 0. Therefore, z cube minus 1 can be expressed as z minus 1 into z square plus z plus 1. Now it is a quadratic equation. Now you know how to find its roots. Minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac. So when you take it, this is going to be minus 1 plus or minus root 3i, because you get minus root 3, that will be root 3i by 2. So therefore the remaining roots are minus 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 2i, and the another one is minus 1 by 2 minus I root 3 by 2. So these are the remaining roots. Okay, since it is z cube equal to 1, it is easy. You told me. How about z power 4 equal to 1? What are all the solutions of z power 4 equal to 1? This is also easy. You can see that 1 minus 1 I minus I. These are the solutions of z power 4 equal to 1. Suppose if I take z power 5, then now the question is, what are all solutions of z power 5 equal to 1, z power 6 equal to 1, and z power 7 equal to 1. And in this way, I need z power n equal to 1, where n can be any natural number. And if you observe that the same equations, you can express it in different way. This can be written as z equal to 1 power 1 by 2. So when you take square root of 1, it has basically two solutions. One is plus 1 and minus 1. Okay. Similarly, this one can be expressed as z equal to 1 power 1 by 3. What is the cubed root of 1? So this is what we call cubed root of 1. And whereas this one is square root of 1. Now I need nth root of n. So here 1 can be expressed as 1 into e power I. What is the argument of 1? Can you tell me? What is the argument of 1? Principal argument of 1.
0, sir.
0, correct. So now I can write this as 0 plus 2k pi. Remember, it is not theta, it is actually 0. So 0 plus 2k pi. And this power n, I am going to take it to the other side. So this can be written as whole power 1 by n. Now when you compare these two, you can see that r equal to 1, and you can see e power I theta plus 2k pi. Let me do not write k here, so let me use some other expression, like let me use n. Okay, or in other words, I can simply write this one as z, right? Why to get confusion? So let me write simply z. Okay. Just a minute. So let me write z power n equal to 1, and this implies z equal to, this 1 can be written as 1 into e power I 0 plus 2k pi. And what you have is z power n. Now z can be expressed as e power I 0 plus 2k pi, right, whole power 1 by n. I have taken that n to the other side. So when you do that, you can see what is z. Z is nothing but e power I simply 2k pi by n. And what is k here? K can be any integer. Okay, so the moment you write k can be any integer, if you observe that, we may have infinitely many values. For example, when k is equal to 1 or 0, so you'll get z equal to e power I into 0, that is 1. Okay, so when k equal to 1, then z equal to e power I 2 pi by n. The next one, when k equal to let's say 3, 2, so z equal to e power I 4 pi by n. So and all. So when you come to z equal to k plus 1, when k equal to n plus 1, or when k is equal to n, not n plus 1. So then you'll get z equal to e power I. So what I get is 2n pi by n. And if you observe that, it is same as e power I 2 pi. And do you believe that it is same as e power I times 0? Both are same. Because e power 0 plus 2k pi, it is same as e power I0, isn't it? Now these two expressions will give you the value 1 only. So these two are equal. Therefore, from n equal to 1, you'll get the first quantity here. When you take k equal to n plus 1, then you'll get the thing. That is when k equal to 1. And similarly, if you take k equal to n plus 2, and this will be same as the number which is obtained when k equal to 2. Right? So therefore, if you observe that, there are exactly k distinct elements are here. So now here, instead of writing k belongs to integers, I can write k belongs to 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1 only. So total you will have n entries. Okay, so these are the nth roots of unity. Now if you ask me what are nth roots of unity, we are going to write nth roots of unity this way, that is 1 omega square and so on, omega power n minus 1. So there will be total n roots. This is how we are going to write nth roots of unity. So if you ask me what is omega k or omega power k, so that is nothing but e power I, that's exactly 2k pi by n. Okay, and you can see what is omega. So omega is e power I 2 pi by n. So these are what we call nth roots of unity. So we are going to denote with omega. And when you look at geometric properties of this unity, they are going to lie on a unit circle. See, we know that these are all solutions of this equation. The equation is z power n equal to 1. Okay. Now if you look at absolute value of z, absolute value of z power n, So let me take absolute value on both sides. So z power n, this is same as 1, and we know that modulus of z1 into z2 is same as mod z1 into mod z2. So using that property, I can write this as mod z power n equal to 1. So this implies mod z equal to 1. So if z satisfies this equation, then definitely absolute value of z is 1. And if you look at the geometric property of this mod z equal to 1, it is a unit circle. We know what is mod z, right? Mod z is nothing but square root of x square plus y square. Square root of x square plus y square equal to 1, that implies x square plus y square equal to 1. So this is exactly representation of a circle centered at origin with radius 1. Okay, so this will give you a unit circle. Now suppose if the first unity is here, the first root is here, that is 1. The second root, it is e power I 2 pi by n. So it is on the unit circle, so it is going to be somewhere here. Let me say this is 1 and this is omega. When it comes to next one, omega square, if you look at omega square, e power I, that is 4 pi by n. So if it is 4 pi by 1, it is more than this. So somewhere here omega square, and similarly here omega cube, and omega power 4, omega power 5, and so on. If you proceed in this way, here you can have omega power n minus 1. And the beautiful thing here is, these nth roots are arranged at an equidistance. I'm not getting the exact picture. Let me assume here and here. Okay, all these nth roots, they lie on a unit circle, nth roots of unity. Okay, and they will be placed at an equidistance. And you can see why they were placed in an equidistance. Suppose, let's say this is what omega. Here you know the angle is nothing but 2 pi by n, isn't it? Now, if I take the other one like omega square, and what is the angle here? So this is nothing but, let me write here. So that is 4 pi by n. And what is the difference between 4 pi by n and 2 pi by n? So that's what exactly 2 pi by n. So similarly you take this, you take the other guy, that is omega cube. So now when you measure this angle, so this angle is going to be 6 pi by n, right? So every time you are just increasing the angle, that is 2 pi by n. Okay. And one more thing we can see. So we came to know that 1 omega, omega square and omega power n, these are nth roots of unity and the solutions of z power n equal to 1. Now let us see what are the properties related to it. So we know that these are all solutions of this equation, that is z power n equal to 1. So let me do one thing. Let me substitute omega here. Even though you substitute omega, you will get omega power n equal to 1. Now this one can be written as omega power n minus 1 equal to 0, right? Now we know from algebraic properties this can be written as omega minus 1 into 1 plus omega square plus and so on plus omega power n minus 1. This equal to 0. So here we know what is omega. We know that omega is nothing but e power I 2 pi by n. Okay, and we know that this is not equal to 0 if n is not equal to If n equal to 1, then it is going to be 0. Is it going to be 0 and n equal to 1? What is e power I 2 pi? That's going to be 1, right? So whatever value of n you take, you can see that this never be equal to 0. So then definitely omega minus 1 is not equal to 0. But what I'm discussing about omega. I need to discuss about omega minus 1. Because you get here a into b equal to 0. So when you take product of two numbers, when a into b equal to 0, so at least in complex numbers we know that one of them must become 0. It means either a equal to 0 or b equal to 0. But let us see whether is a 0 or not. It means the first expression omega minus 1. So is it equal to 0? Can it be 0? We know what is omega, right? Omega equal to e power I 2 pi by n. Okay. So here I am having an assumption that the assumption is n is greater than or equal to 2. So when n is equal to n equal to 1, then here you get e power I 2 pi. So that will give you 1. So in that case it will become 0. But you know that n is not equal to 1 here. So n can be 2, 3, 4 and all. So then in that case this omega never be equal to 1. So this implies omega minus 1 is not equal to 0. So this implies what? Then the other guy must become 0. So 1 plus omega square plus and so on plus omega power n minus 1 equal to 0. So from this we can conclude one thing. The thing is sum of all nth roots of unity equal to 0. Okay. And of course you can write omega plus omega square plus and so on plus omega power n minus 1. Now this is going to be 1. Sorry, minus 1. When you take 1 to the other side, so you will get this is minus 1. Okay. Now let's do one thing. This time let us write what is cubed root of unity. Okay. So let's write cubed roots of unity, that is solutions of this equation z cube equal to 1. So where 1 will be 1 itself and omega is going to be e power I 2 pi by 3. Why? Because n equal to 1, no? Next omega square, that is e power I 2 pi by 2 pi into 2 pi, that is going to be 4 pi. So that will be 4 pi by 3. Or let me write it like this, 2 times 2 pi by 3. Now let us see. So omega is nothing but, now we know how to express this Euler form into a polar form. So this is what cos of 2 pi by 3 plus I sine 2 pi by 3. But you know what is cos of 2 pi by 3? That is cos of pi minus pi by 3. Pi minus, it means you are in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, cos is negative, so minus. And that is same as cos of pi by 3. So when you look at cos of pi by 3, what is it? is it going to be 1 by 2 plus I into, and sign of pi minus, in the second quadrant sign is positive, so you'll have plus only. Now sine of pi by 3, so that is going to be root 3 by 2. So that is what omega. So therefore we can see that the omega is minus 1 plus I root 3 by 2. And similarly, let us calculate what is omega square. So that is cos of 4 pi by 3 plus I sine 4 pi by 3. So what is cos of 4 pi by 3? Pi plus pi by 3. So in the third quadrant, both cos and sine are negative, so this is minus. So you'll have 1 by 2, and this is minus I times root 3 by 2. So therefore omega square is nothing but minus 1 minus I root 3 by 2. So these are the cubed roots of unity, 1 omega square. And you can observe one thing here, if you add 1 omega and omega square, definitely you will get 0. You can check it directly. When you add them, you are going to get 0. Okay. Similarly, you can think for what are fourth roots of unity and fifth roots of unity. So let me write fifth roots of unity. That is set of all solutions of z power 5 equal to 1. So the solutions are, we know 1 omega square, omega cube, and omega power 4. And what is omega here? This is e power I 2 pi by n. N is nothing but 5. So if you are getting confused, you can write formula. The formula for omega power n, that is e power I, formula for omega power k. This is e power I 2k pi by n. Okay, so this is the formula for omega power k. Now using it, what I can do is I can write cos of 2 pi by 5 plus I sine of 2 pi by 5. That's it. But do we know what is cos of 2 pi by 5? So in the standard table, these values were not given, right? So we'll leave it like this. Just this is what? Fifth root of unity, omega. And if you want omega square, that you can easily write, that is e power I 2 times k, that is 4 pi by 5. So this is what exactly cos of 4 pi by 5 plus I sine of 4 pi by 5. Similarly, you can talk about the rest. Omega cube you can write, and as well as omega power 4 also you can write. Okay, so omega cube, let me write it, that is 6 pi by 5, whereas this e power I, you get 8 pi by 5. Okay, so these are the fifth roots of unity. Okay. All right. Now let us try to discuss what are the roots of other numbers. So right now we discussed about nth roots of unity. Now let's take a complex number and let us try to find its root. Okay, let us start with the simplest problem. So the first one, so what is 2i power 1 by 2? Find all possible solutions for this equation. So what are all the solutions of, let's say I want to find all z which satisfies z equal to 2i power 1 by 2. So how do you go? First you do one thing, you start with a given number, this 2i, and express it in the exponential form or Euler form. So we know this 2i can be written as 2 times e power I pi by 2 plus 2k pi. Do you agree? Where k belongs to integers. Now this implies what is 2i power 1 by 2? So you just take power on both sides, so that is 2 into e power I, so which is mathematical pi by 2 plus 2k pi, right? So this whole to the power of 1 by 2. So when I look at it, so this is nothing but 2 power 1 by 2, that is root 2 itself, into e power I. So you just multiply with it, so you get pi by 2 plus 2k pi whole divided by 2. Okay, so when you simplify this guy, you get root 2 into e power I. So you can see that this is pi by 4 plus k pi. And you can tell me what is k here. K will be 0 on 1 only. Why? Because we know it will have only 2 solutions. So even if you take the other case like k equal to 2, 3, 4, 5 and all, you will get the same numbers. You do not get the different numbers. Okay, so let me assume z equal to this, therefore z equal to this. Now we can easily write what is z1 and what is z2. So let me write z1. So that is root 2 into e power, that is what when you substitute k equal to 0. So when you substitute k 0, so this is e power I pi by 4. So that is what exactly root 2 into cos of pi by 4 plus I sin pi by 4. But you know what is cos of pi by 4 and sin of pi by 4? So this is 1 by root 2 plus I 1 by root 2. So when you multiply with root 2, this is nothing but 1 plus I. That's it. Similarly, when k equal to 1. So when k equal to 1, so let me write it as z2. So that is root 2 into e power I pi by 4 plus pi. So this is what root 2 into, you'll get cos of pi plus pi by 4 and plus I sin of pi plus pi by 4. So cos of pi plus, it means that's going to be negative. So this will be minus 1 by root 2 minus, and this one also you'll get minus I by root 2. So when you cancel it, so you are going to get minus of 1 plus I. Okay. So therefore, if you look at the solutions of this guy, therefore the solution is this. One is 1 plus I, and whereas the another one is minus 1 minus I. Okay. So in other words, we can write 2i power 1 by 2. 2i power 1 by 2, that equal to plus or minus 1 plus I. This is what I can say. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let us start with another problem. Let's say if I take z equal to 1 minus root 3 I whole power 1 by 2. So try to find all possible solutions for it. You know it is going to have two solutions. Why? Because it is square root. So it will have two solutions. So what are those two solutions here? So quickly do it and tell me. First of all, you need to write it in the Euler form. So first find argument, principal argument of this. I hope you can see that the principal argument of this complex number what is it? This is going to be minus pi by 3. Okay, so therefore this 1 minus root 3i. Okay, let me find what is the absolute value of 1 minus root 3i. So the absolute value is square root of 1 plus 3, that is 4, so which is root 4, 2. So this can be written as 2 times e power I minus pi by 3 plus 2k pi. So now if you ask me what is 1 minus root 3i whole power 1 by 2, yes, I'll take power 1 by 2. Okay, I'm skipping step, I'm directly writing it. So this is 2 power 1 by 2 into e power I. So when you multiply with 1 by 2, you'll get minus pi by 6 plus 2k pi by 2, so that is k pi. Where you can say that k is varying from 0 to 1. Okay, so when k equal to 0, what is the answer? Let me call it as z0. So that is root 2 into e power I minus pi by 6. So that is root 2 into cos of minus pi by 6. That will give you just cos of pi by 6. And what is it? Is it nothing but root 3 by 2? Next, minus or plus sine of minus pi by 6, you will get minus I 1 by 2. So when you simplify this guy, you will get root 3 minus I by root 2. This is what you get. And whereas when k equal to 1, so let me call it as z1, so that is root 2 into e power I, so you'll get minus pi by 6 plus pi. So you get pi minus, it means you're on the second quadrant, so their cos is negative, sine is positive. So you'll get, so the root 2 into, so we know what is cos of pi minus pi by 6. So this is same as minus cos of pi by 6. It means minus root 3 by 2. So here you'll get minus root 3 by 2. Whereas plus I into sine of pi minus pi by 6. So you're in the second quadrant, so this is positive plus I. And sine of pi by 6, that's going to be 1 by 2. So this will be minus root 3 plus I by root 2. Okay. So this is how you can find square root of 1 minus root 3i. Now similarly you try to compute these problems. So the problem 1, what is the cubed root of minus 1? And problem 2, what is minus 8 minus 8 root 3i whole power 1 by 4. And problem 3, what is 8 power 1 by 6? Okay, so you try to find all possible solutions for this. The first one will have 3 and the second one will have 4 and the third one will have 6. So you try to find what are all of them. Okay, so you take it as a homework and let me know the answers by tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes?
one maybe 2 solutions.
What?
In the given problem, third problem, sir.
Okay.
Two solutions ఉండొచ్చా సార్?
No, you try to understand. So, what do you mean by 8 power 1 by 6? This is what we are actually asking. We are looking for a z where it satisfies z equal to 8 power 1 by 6. In other words, z power 6 equal to 8. So, how many solutions does it have, this polynomial? It is a 6th degree polynomial,
Okay.
right?
అంటే 8. Yes, sir.
So, it is going to have 6 solutions.
సార్ 8 ని అంటే 8 ని 2 క్యూబ్ గా రాయొచ్చు కదా సార్, అలానే అంటున్నాను సార్.
Yeah, you can write it as 2 cube.
అప్పుడు పవర్ లో 1/6 ఉంది కదా సార్.
No. So what you have is 8. So when you see that as a complex number, this is 8 into e power I. You will get 0 plus 2k pi. So I am looking for 8 power 1 by 6. So that is 8 power 1 by 6 into e power I 0 plus 2k pi by 6. Okay, so now here you can do it this way. This one 8 can be written as 2 cube and this can be written as 2 power 1 by 2. Sorry, 2 power 1 by 3. So 2 only. 8 power 1 by 6, that is same as root 2. Am I correct? Now
Yes,
this
sir.
is e power I k pi by 6. Sorry, k pi by 3, where k is going to vary from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let me call this as z. Now let me see what is z naught. Z naught is going to be just root 2. See, the moment you simplify, you are looking at just one solution of it. It has actually more. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And if you look at the next solution, z1, so z1 equal to root 2 into e power I pi by 3. What is it? So that's what root 2 into e power I pi by 3, that is cos of pi by 3, which is going to be 1 by 2 plus I into root 3 by 2. Okay, now let us try to investigate one thing. So you have this z1, right? So if you simplify this one to be like 2 cube whole power 1 by 6, if you cancel out, you'll get 2 power 1 by 2. Okay, you may solve it, you may get two solutions only. But here, if you observe one thing, if I take this z1, this particular z1, that is root 2 into 1 by 2 plus I root 3 by 2, this satisfies the first equation. The first equation is, what is it? Z power 6 equal to 8. But whereas this z1, it is not satisfying z square equal to 2. Okay, to understand more clear, let me explain it in different way. So you are given with this equation, sir, z equal to 8 power 1 by 6, right? So this one can be written as z power 6 equal to 8. So this one can be simplified to z power 6 minus 8 equal to 0. Now this one I am going to write it as I'll write it as z square whole cube minus 2 cube equal to 0. Now you know formula for a cube minus b cube. So it is in the form of a cube minus b cube. Now this one you can write it as a minus b into a square plus ab plus b square equal to 0. Now what is a cube, what is a and b here? A is nothing but z square minus b is 2 into, now the rest is z square, a square, so that is z power 4, a into b, so where a is 2, b is z square, so plus 2z square plus b square, that is 4 equal to 0. Now this equation can be split into two factors. One is z square minus 2, other one is z power 4 plus z square, 2z square plus 4. Suppose if you do simplification here, directly 2 power 3, like if you simplify it to z power 1 by 6, it means you're actually neglecting this part. You're actually neglecting z power 4 plus 2 into z square plus 4. You're neglecting this part. It means you do not get full solution if you solve it this way. Okay, so if you solve it after simplification, you do not get full solution. This 8 power 1 by 6, that has 6 solutions, that is for sure. But if you simplify it, you're actually taking just 2 solutions of it. But how about the rest?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Clear now?
Yes, sir. Clear. Sir.
Okay, good. Good. If you have questions or doubts like this, you ask immediately. Don't keep it with you. It's good. What is your name?
Venkat Varma.
Venkat Ramana. Good. Okay, I'll stop it here. So we'll meet in the next class, and let me know if you have any more doubts or questions.